Life is just a series of in-betweens. These in-between moments are the training ground for spiritual mastery. What would it feel like to be happy just because? You are going to see magic unfold in your life when you decide that you are the creator. Hello, Earth Angels, and welcome back to another episode of Alignment Academy. It is your host, Kristen, and if you're new here, then welcome. Alignment Academy is a school for your soul to grow and evolve, and on this podcast, we talk about spiritual truths, manifestation, healing, personal growth, entrepreneurship, manifesting from the quantum field. We talk about everything. And today, a certain spiritual truth has been on my mind. It has just kind of been like, I don't know, in my auric field. And I was like, I think I just want to do an episode dedicated to this. The topic that I want to dedicate this to is mastering the in-between. I want to actually start this podcast with telling a little bit of a story. I want to tell a story about one of my mushroom trips. And I told this story on a podcast that I was interviewed on the other day. And I was like, damn, that's a really good story. And I don't feel like I talk about it enough. And it was one of the biggest lessons of my entire life. So, you know, I am a mushroom girl through and through. I have had some of the deepest spiritual lessons, if not the deepest spiritual lessons, from plant medicine. And I always say, you know, I've been on this spiritual journey since I was 17 years old, worked with my spiritual mentor from 17 to 24. And when I had my first mushroom experience, it was like, I really feel like I learned more in that mushroom trip than I did on 10 years that I'd been on the spiritual journey at that point. And the reason is because you can learn a lot on this, on the journey. You can read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can do practices, which I was doing all of, but the soul is here to experience. The soul is here to have an experience. If not, we wouldn't be in 3D reality. And even when I've asked Source, God, you know, why are we here? It's like to experience what you know already, to experience what you know. And that is a whole different game than learning. Learning and experience are just two different things. And so anyway, I'm on this mushroom journey and I want to paint the picture for you. I was in the middle of my terrible breakup and I was so freaking upset and I was ready for it to be over. And I had been doing a lot of plant medicine this year, not this year, this was the year that it was. And I just needed to get out of it. I was in so much pain that I was like, I just need this to end and I need to do everything in my power to make it end as quickly as possible. And fortunately, plant medicine was part of that. So long story short, I'm communing with the fungi in a very big trip and I'm crying out to God alone. And I'm like, tell me when this is going to be over. Give me the exact date. Give me the time. I need to know, is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? Is it 9 months? I just need a date so I can count down. I just want this to be over. And I've always had this thing with time where I try to control things with time. And so I just really wanted the date and the time. And like, I don't know why I asked God. I said, I want the time. Tell me when. And when I'm in a big mushroom trip, I tend to become one with all that is, where it's like, I'm talking and I'm having a direct conversation with God. I don't know. It's really weird. It's just like God is all around me. God's in me. Like God is talking to me directly. And I ask God and God says, okay, Kristen, you do know that once you get over this breakup, once you overcome this problem, you're going to have a whole set of new problems to get over. And life is just a series of problems. And the more unconditionally happy, joyful, at peace, and loving towards yourself you can be in the midst of any problem you're having, the happier you're going to be in life. Because life is just a bunch of in-betweens. You're never really going to get where you're going because as soon as you get there, you're going to want more. You're going to want to get to the next place and you're going to be in another in-between. And so why don't you just master right here? Why don't you just have gratitude for right here? Why don't you just be okay and decide that you are okay right here? And that was the biggest lesson. I know it's simple, but I realized that life is just a series of in-betweens. Energy work has completely changed my life and all of my clients' lives. When you learn how to shift your energy, you can attract more love, money, visibility, success so quickly because this universe is made of energy. I work with the energy from the seventh dimension and it shifts things so quick. So if you're loving this episode and you want to rate the podcast 5 stars, I created a completely free guided energy work to anchor self-love and build confidence. All you have to do to get it is rate the podcast 5 stars, screenshot, go follow Alignment Academy Pod on Instagram, and then send me a picture of your screenshot and I'll send it right over. After you do it, don't forget to DM me and tell me how it goes. Okay, now back to the episode. This morning I had an Alignment Academy cacao ceremony call. I had really wanted to go to yoga because I think you guys might know now I have some herniated discs. So like the only exercise I can do is yoga and Pilates. And it really helps me if I go stretch in the morning. Like it just really loosens up my back and it opens up the muscles and it just feels a lot better in my back. And I really wanted to go to yoga, but I had this call that I planned for myself at 9 a.m. and yoga was at 7:30. And like I usually walk a mile there, I walk a mile back. So like it's a whole thing, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to tell another story. I go to yoga this morning and I leave early, which is fine. I kind of like leaving yoga early because with my herniated discs, I can't lay on my back. So I kind of hate being in Shavasana because it really hurts my back. So I don't mind leaving early. So I leave early and I start walking home and then I like stop into this coffee shop and then I realized I don't have what I wanted. So I like left the coffee shop and I was like, okay, like now I really got to get home because it's 8:40 and my call starts at 9. I'm sweaty and I literally like need to get on my call, right? And I'm just feeling freaking annoyed. I'm like annoyed at myself because I planned my call too early and I don't like rushing in the morning. I'm annoyed at the coffee shop. I'm just annoyed. I'm just like feeling really annoyed, to be honest. I also hadn't prepared for my cacao ceremony. I hadn't prepared for my call. And I was like, God, like, what am I going to do? And so I just, I never wear headphones on my walks anymore. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take the rest of the walk to plan what I'm going to say on the cacao ceremony, ask my guides to give me the intention. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm walking. I have a half a mile left. So I have like 8-9 minutes left to walk home. And I'm just annoyed. And I'm like, God, like, what do I talk about? And they're like, in between this thing and that thing, can you master joy? Can you master being at peace, knowing you'll get on your call at time? Can you master being unconditionally happy and stress-free and okay in this moment? They were like, that's what you need to talk about, is mastering the in-between. And so I ended up going on the call and we talk about mastering the in-between. It was such a good call. It was great. But the point being is I realized that so many people are just striving to do and to get to the end results and having problems in the middle. They're so miserable in the middle. And I had one of my clients, he's so amazing. His name's Khan. So shout out Khan if you're listening. And he was just like, how do I be happy while I'm, he's in a big transition. He was like, how do I be happy in this transition? And I just reminded him, transitions are about being unconditional. Like transitions and these in-between moments are the training ground for spiritual mastery. Because if we can only be happy when we get the thing, if we can only be happy when we're at the end result, when we're at the finish line, then our happiness is based on a condition and it's codependent with that condition. Hear that again. It's codependent. Your happiness is codependent on a condition. If you can only be happy when you get the money, when you get the client, when you get the boyfriend, right? Unconditional happiness is what God wants for us. And unconditional happiness means that no matter the condition, you are happy. It means no matter what is going on or what is not going on or what you are doing or what you're not doing or what you're manifesting or what you're not manifesting, you are at peace, you are happy, you are good inside. And so I just want to take a moment for you to ask yourself, what am I manifesting? What am I calling into my life? Am I calling in a partner? Am I calling in friends? Am I calling in money? And what would it be like? What would it feel like? How would I act differently if I was unconditionally content and I was the same amount of content right now and when I got it, right? And the truth is it's actually going to call that thing to you sooner. That's the truth, is you're actually going to get that thing sooner when you do that. And simultaneously, it's not about that. It's not about getting the thing. It's about learning how to control your internal world. Because again, our internal world is a reflection of our external world. And so I'm going to wrap this up by inviting you to just focus on today, maybe. Just start small. What would it feel like to be happy just because? What would it feel like to feel joy and gratitude and love and peace and abundance just because? whatever you want to feel, it's a choice. And I used to fucking hate when people told me that. I was like, no, it's not. I want my thing. I'd be way happier if XYZ. But the truth is that you have a choice, and you can decide that today's going to be the best day ever because you decide it is. You can decide that you're going to be lucky today because you decide you are. And when you set that intention and you feel it in your heart, keyword feel it, because intentions are just words if we don't feel anything. If you set that intention and you feel it in your heart and you decide that for yourself, you are going to see magic unfold in your life when you decide that you are the creator. Because in that moment, you're creating a feeling, and that's the micro to the macro, right? We can create our day just by deciding we can be happy. We can create an experience just by deciding we're going to feel joy, just by deciding we're going to be grateful, even if it's not perfect. We create that experience. We're like, oh, this was a good experience because I created it to be. Or it can be a bad experience if you create a bad mood, or if you create that you're going to be ungrateful because the waiter was terrible, right? You create that. And so we can see that in these micro moments we create, and then we create a bigger macro moment from all these micro moments of creating and deciding who we want to be and how we want to be and how we want to act. And so this is just a reminder that you are the creator of your reality, and life is about mastering the in-between. You're never going to get there. It's never going to be done. As Abraham Hicks says, you're always going to want more, and be happy now. Be happy now. That's all I really have to say. I know this was a short episode, but I hope that it shifted something in you, and I hope that it sparked something in you. And sometimes the most profound things are the simplest messages. So I'm going to trust the frequency of what I'm trying to convey is going to move through the screen. And I also want to remind you that if you have been feeling called to come on retreat with me, my Peru retreat is open, and I would love for you to join us. I'm going to be hosting with my mentor and friend, Daniela Gill. If you haven't listened to our episode together to feel the frequency of this retreat, I highly recommend it. We're going to be in the Sacred Valley of Peru, which is such a spiritually charged place. And if you're wanting to go deeper on your spiritual journey, this is going to be the exact retreat you're going to want to come on. We're going to be doing a Wachuma ceremony, which you can hear about in our episode together. We're going to be having a temazcal, cacao every morning, spa day, cooking class, prayer ceremony. It's going to really connect you to the divine and God, and it's going to honestly change your life, because I've been on her retreat and it changed mine. And that's why I'm now co-hosting with her and bringing you guys to Peru. So if you want to apply, then you can just book a call with the link below. That is the process. I would love to host you in the Sacred Valley of Peru. I'm actually spending about a month there this winter because I'm hosting the retreat, and then I want to stay because I'm so in love with Peru. That's how in love with Peru I am. So I hope to see you there. Feel free to reach out with any questions. I hope you guys have an amazing week ahead. I love you so much, and I will see you on another episode of Alignment Academy. Until then, bye.